Imagine waking up every day with a sense of urgency, not because you're running late, but because you are fully aware that life is fleeting. This realization, that death is inevitable and could come at any moment, may seem morbid at first. But what if I told you that remembering death every single day could be the key to living a fuller, more meaningful life? This concept, known as memento mori, is at the heart of Stoic philosophy. The ancient Stoics, including figures like Marcus Aurelius, Seneca, and Epictetus, practiced and preached this principle to remind themselves of life's transience. By reflecting on death, they aimed to cultivate wisdom, virtue, and a deeper appreciation for life. In this video, we'll explore how remembering death can completely transform the way you approach life. How can acknowledging the reality of death change your actions, decisions, and mindset? And how can you use this perspective to lead a more intentional, fulfilling life? Let's dive in and understand why memento mori is one of the most life-changing principles you can adopt. The phrase memento mori translates to, remember that you will die. This is not a pessimistic or negative thought, but a wake-up call to remind us of our mortality. The Stoics saw this practice as a way to live a better life, not a way to be consumed by fear or sadness. In fact, it was a means of freedom. For Stoic philosophers like Marcus Aurelius, remembering death was not about dwelling on it, but rather about living with purpose. Marcus, in his personal writings and meditations, often reflected on the transient nature of life. He wrote, "You could leave life right now. Let that determine what you do and say and think." This simple yet profound statement highlights the Stoic belief that by constantly reminding ourselves of death, we can live with more clarity, focus, and gratitude. Seneca, another influential Stoic philosopher, echoed similar thoughts. In his essay on the shortness of life, he writes, "It is not that we have a short time to live, but that we waste a lot of it." According to Seneca, the fear of death doesn't come from its inevitability, but from how we live our lives, often wasting time on things that don't matter. The Stoics were not afraid of death. In fact, they embraced it as a part of life. Epictetus, one of the key figures in Stoicism, taught that death is natural and should be accepted as such. He believed that we can only control how we react to death, not the event itself. The Stoics often viewed death as a release, a return to the natural order of things. By understanding that death is an inevitable part of existence, they believed we could better appreciate life. In the modern world, death is often viewed with fear and avoidance. We distract ourselves with endless tasks, achievements, and comforts, hoping to escape the inevitable. But for the Stoics, acknowledging death was liberating. It gave them a sense of urgency to live with intention, to focus on what truly matters, and to avoid the trivial distractions that waste precious time. One of the most powerful aspects of Stoic philosophy is the ability to maintain peace in the face of death. By recognizing death as a natural part of life, we free ourselves from the constant fear and anxiety that it can bring. Instead of worrying about when it will come or how it will happen, we can focus on living fully and meaningfully in the time we have. When we remember that death could come at any moment, it forces us to reevaluate our priorities. What truly matters in life? Are we spending our time on things that will bring us lasting fulfillment? Or are we caught up in the fleeting pleasures and distractions of modern life? One of the most powerful ways remembering death transforms our perspective is by shifting our focus to the present moment. When we realize that time is limited, we are less likely to waste it on regrets about the past or anxieties about the future. Instead, we are encouraged to embrace the present, to fully engage in the activities and relationships that matter most. The practice of memento mori also teaches us to be more selective about how we spend our time. In a world filled with distractions, it's easy to lose sight of what truly matters. But by remembering death, we can gain clarity. We can ask ourselves, is this truly important? Will this matter when I look back on my life? This simple question can help us prioritize what's most meaningful. Moreover, remembering death can help us overcome the fear of failure. If we understand that life is short, We are less likely to be paralyzed by the fear of making mistakes. Instead, we are more likely to take bold action, knowing that failure is just a part of the process. In fact, it's through failure that we learn and grow. The awareness of our mortality also helps us to cherish the small moments of life. Instead of rushing through our days, focused on future goals or past regrets, we learn to savor the present. We appreciate the fleeting beauty of life, from a quiet moment with loved ones to a beautiful sunset. This shift in perspective makes life more meaningful. Now that we understand the philosophical basis for remembering death, how can we apply this practice to our daily lives? Here are a few practical ways to incorporate memento mori into your routine. Number 1, daily reflection. Set aside a few moments each day to reflect on the brevity of life. This doesn't have to be a dark or depressing exercise. Instead, think of it as a reminder to live with intention. Ask yourself, if today were my last day, would I be proud of how I spent it? This daily reflection can help you stay focused on what truly matters. Number 2, focus on what truly matters. Death reminds us that time is limited. Therefore, prioritize the people, activities, and goals that align with your values. Don't waste time on things that don't bring you closer to your true purpose. Take the time to nurture relationships, pursue meaningful work, and engage in activities that bring you joy and fulfillment. Number 3, embrace impermanence. Accept that nothing in life is permanent, including your own life. This mindset can help you appreciate the present moment more fully and let go of attachments to things that are ultimately fleeting. Whether it's material possessions, achievements, or even relationships, everything is temporary. By embracing this impermanence, we can learn to appreciate what we have while it lasts. Number 4, face your fears. Use the awareness of death to overcome your fears. Remember that life is too short to be held back by what-ifs. Take the risks that matter, whether they are in your personal or professional life. If you're afraid to start a new project, change careers, or pursue a new relationship, remember that life is too short to wait for the perfect moment. The perfect moment is now. Number 5, live with gratitude. When we remember that life is temporary, we are more likely to be grateful for what we have. Practice gratitude daily by appreciating the small things, the people around you, your health, and the simple joys of life. Gratitude helps us to stay grounded and focused on what truly matters. Number 6, simplify your life. One of the most powerful lessons from Stoicism is the idea of living simply. When we remember that death could come at any moment, we realize that we don't need much to live a fulfilling life. We don't need excessive possessions or constant validation. What we truly need is purpose, connection, and peace of mind. Number 7, prioritize self-reflection and growth. Make time for self-reflection and personal growth. By reflecting on your actions, values, and goals, you can ensure that you're living in alignment with your true self. This reflection helps you stay focused on what matters and avoid wasting time on things that don't serve your greater purpose. Remembering death is not a practice to induce fear, sadness, or anxiety. Instead, it's a powerful tool to help us live more fully. By contemplating our mortality, we gain perspective on what truly matters in life. We learn to prioritize the present moment, live authentically, and let go of distractions and fears that hold us back. The Stoics were right. Death is not something to be feared, but something to be embraced as a reminder of life's preciousness. So, the next time you find yourself caught up in the hustle and bustle of daily life, take a moment to remember that you will die. And in that moment, ask yourself, what will you do with the time you have left? By living with the awareness of death, you can transform your life in ways you never imagined, becoming more focused, intentional, and grateful for every moment.